He'll definitely have his race face on. He really wants to make up for that earlier mistake, just a slight mistake. Shows you how close to the edge these guys are all the way around the circuit. That KTM with its factory wings there looking very funky. And of course Dell, being the tart he is, has to have the matching bike, the matching leathers and everything else. And the matching daughter as well. There we go then. We get underway and Dell doesn't make such a great start this time. He's hooks into second gear though. The KTM pulls along nicely, gets him off with the rest of the field, but he's lost a few places there. Who's that out the front there, Bradley? Can you spot it?
Looked like Sam Hurst was right there in the mix. AJ, who's not had a good weekend, that's self-confessed, he put it on social media. He'll be looking to fight back strong in this third and final race for the MRO600s, but up towards Wilson's they go. Everybody through safely. Good news on this opening lap.
Yeah, you're right. There's quite a few people with a point to prove here, of course. AJ desperately wants to get back onto a solid podium finish, and he knows he was on the podium last time. That was only after the demise of Sam Hurst. Sam will be absolutely desperate to make up for his mistake as well and prove he can just go as quick as ever. And, of course, everybody else has got a point to prove out there, particularly Aaron Sylvester, who lucked into the last win, but he'd love to get this one on his own credit.
Well, AJ was up there in second, I think, when they went in towards Agostini's, but no, it's Aaron Sylvester who's up into second place ahead of, I think, maybe Reece Forrest, Charlie Huntingford, and then AJ's just been pushed back a few positions, so he's being a little bit bullied on this opening lap, and you know that AJ won't like that one bit.
No, multiple lap record holder at various bikes and various circuits around the country, and of course he is also one of the very few people who've won the Milano Trophy twice, the absolute highest accolade in British club racing. Such is the talent of that young guy. Well, I say young guy, I call him young because I raced against him when he was about 12 years old, but he's got a little bit older since then. Right, round we go then to the bomb hole. We're going to spot them back as coming out of Corums to get a better idea of who's doing what to whom as they come back into our sight, and a breakaway group of two at the front end of the field. Can you spot who that is at all, Bradley?
That's going to be Sam Hurst, number 91, Team Valley Racing. Kawasaki for Sam Hurst out in front, ahead of number 134, Aaron Sylvester. AJ's there in sixth place. Looks like it could well be Michael Mills who's in the mix there as well. What are you looking for there?
Oh, I was just spotting Dell's bike, the bright orange machine, go around the outside there. So, local man knows the track very well indeed. I think he was making up a few places as well. He's doing extremely well on that KTM. He's managed to make up another few places. Now he's got away at the sharp end. In fact, no, he actually lost the place there. So I think he was looking for an outside pass on Tyler Donovan there. Let's see, who are the winners and losers on that lap? Well, Reece Forrest makes up a couple of places. Michael Mills makes up one. AJ goes back by quite just 2 places, but he's down in 6th place. That is so unaccustomed to AJ. I don't think I've ever said that in my life. Jennison goes back by 4 places. Kingston goes back by 3. But the real action is at the sharp end as Hurst leads Sylvester across the line, but by 0.088, so they're pretty much side by side across the line there.
I think Sam Hurst tried to make the break on the opening lap there, while Aaron Sylvester was further down the pack, but Aaron's up into second position now and is hunting down the man who was second yesterday in race number 1, Sam Hurst, and you know that he would love to come away from Snetterton with a victory. He likes this circuit, we heard that from the team yesterday, and a victory would not go amiss.
Absolutely, he's pushing on as hard as he dare, trying to keep an eye on everybody, and I think there's a problem with the 91 transponder, but we won't worry too much about that. Yeah, it's ticking over the back there, so not quite sure what the issue is there. Maybe it's a spare bike, maybe somebody forgot to plug it in, maybe it's not been charged up, but no, it's actually picked up at the back of the circuit there, so maybe it's just coming and going as it chooses. And the fastest man out the back there is indeed Sam Hurst, 17.3, which puts him 0.4 of a second quicker than Aaron Sylvester, so he's looking to open the gap up a bit, mate.
Yeah, AJ threw Michael Mills as well. That's the 5th and 6th position. It was Michael Mills across the line in 5th, but now it is AJ who's running inside the top 5 on the white Triumph, but in towards Murray's they go. And Aaron Sylvester, he can't run much closer to the back of Sam Hurst, can he, Keith?
No, he's certainly keeping him very tight indeed, but we do know the Yamaha does seem to lose out at the top end against the Kawasaki as they make their way over the line for the second time of asking. You can hear the bikes in the background screaming past us in a very close formation. There's Dell, the distinctive roar of that KTM twin comes across the line. He has made up a place as he goes past on Jack Muir. A few other changes. Huntingwood passed on Forrest. AJ passed on Michael Mills. Mayer goes past as Donovan loses a couple of places there. So Tyler not having a particularly good lap. It's been not a weekend of it yet, but not one of his highlight weekends, should we say, as Gill goes up as Mayer goes along as well. So there's a faster lap out there somewhere. Gap between the first and second though, 0.34 1:04.0. Fastest man in the second centre was Charlie Huntingford, because there's another man who wants to be on the podium, of course, as he visits this for the first time this year.
Yeah, first time this year, I think the second time in general. He was in Thunderbolt Sports on Donington Park last year on a CBR 600, but he's out there now on number 761 Yamaha R6. And Aaron Sylvester there just trailing Sam Hurst as he goes around Williams and onto the back straight very shortly. But Charlie Huntingford is looking quick. He was 0.9 of a second away at the end of lap number 2, but he did put in a purple sector at number 2, closing the gap by 0.3 of a second.
Well, they're heading down the back straight now, and we're going to get the timing beam trip times in sector 1 in just a moment. We'll wait and see. It's a yellow there for Sam Hurst, but he was the fastest, but he's only a tenth slower than Aaron Sylvester behind him, so pretty much nothing to choose there. Some 17s coming in there for Huntingford as well. He goes a little bit slower than the two in front of him, so he's lost out in a straight line. 17.9 also for AJ as he looks to close that gap. I think AJ on Forest is going to be the next overtake we see there, Bradley.
Yeah, I think you could be right on that one. He's a lot closer than what he was one lap ago, and he goes a little bit wider around Corrams, does AJ. Not close enough to make a challenge on the number 48 Kawasaki of Reese Forest, but you get the sense it's rather when than if. So across the line, it's Sam Hurst who leads the way over Aaron Sylvester. It was by a 0.2, and in fact it is still by a 0.2. Fastest lap of the race to Aaron Sylvester, 1 minute 56.558. In fact, we're about a second away from where we were this morning, Keith, in terms of lap time. So there is still pace to be found out there from the leading two. Huntingford at 56.9, loses out by 0.4 of a second there compared to the guys in front. But AJ only 0.3 of a second away from Charlie Huntingford for the final podium position.
James May leads Will Howarth in the Clubmans as well, and that's by a good couple of seconds. So James May looking for his first Clubman win of the weekend after Howarth takes the other two.
Yeah, change of fourth position. Apologies, of course, it is for fourth place for AJ and Reese Forest, and AJ did make the move up the inside into Palmer's, as Aaron Sylvester still there in the wheel tracks of Sam Hurst. Charlie Huntingford in relative terms is quite lonely. He's 1 second away from the guys in front, 1.5 seconds up the road from AJ, but AJ with a little bit of clear track. In fact, Reese Forest momentarily was back in front of him, but AJ's up the inside. Reese tries to square it underneath him, but it is AJ who carries the momentum around the outside and does hold on to fourth place.
Sylvester going to be trying to pick up the slipstream. We'll get a brief glimpse of him on the back straight, but that extra power, that Kawasaki, definitely playing nicely into the hands of Sam Hurst. Now he knows the mistake he made last time. He'll be desperate not to make the mistake this time. And Aaron Sylvester, I think he's pushing on as hard as he possibly can just to stay with Sam Hurst. I mean, he's gone purple again in the first sector, so there's a faster time out there somewhere. But I think Sylvester knows that Hurst had him beat in the last race, and Sam would desperately love to do it this time.
That might have been a change there. I think Aaron Sylvester just got up the inside as it went out of the bomb hole. So it is the number 134 of Aaron Sylvester on that R6. That's a 13S Yamaha R6 for Aaron Sylvester. But Sam Hurst, I think he's got a little bit more brake horsepower than the Yamaha, and will put tucking in tight into the slipstream. But is he close enough to make a challenge into Riches?
I don't think he's going to be. Do you know what? Sylvester's going to try and break him. Then there's a quarter of a second between as they come across the line. There's still 3 laps left in the race. I didn't think Hurst had anything in reserve. Sorry, Sylvester had anything in reserve, but he suddenly reached deep, found it. He's done a 56.049. But we do know also that Hurst is capable of being into the 55s because he proved that earlier today. So maybe things aren't 100%, of course, with the machine after lobbing it earlier in the race, because obviously, as Isabel knows, when you crash a bike, it's not quite the same in the next race, is it? There's always something a little bit different, isn't there?
It's always just a slight bit off.
There's always what, sorry, love?
It's always just like a slight bit off. Nothing massive, just a little.
That turns into fractions of a second, which of course can be the difference between winning and losing. So Sam now in a solid second place, but he'd rather be in a solid lead. But of course Sylvester has got the advantage of the empty track in front of him. So if Sam's going to do something, he's going to reach deep and find it very soon, because he's running out of time very rapidly indeed. Some very rapid laps out there. 56.5. Yeah, that's around about half a second, more than half a second away from Sam's best this weekend. AJ does indeed move up into fourth place. He's nearly 3 seconds behind Charlie Huntingford in that third place, though. AJ's really going to have to go some if he wants to get another medal for his already massive collection. Times out the back there. It is 0.3 quicker there for Aaron Sylvester. So Sam Hurst, let's see what he can do in the second sector. Can he close that gap back down? It's always going to be a very tough ask, I think. May and Howarth are a little bit closer this time. There's about a second and a half between them as Mr. Howarth does find a little bit more time. Mayer and Vaughan have got quite a bit of a gap between them for that third place in the Clubman's. So here come the leaders up the straight once again, and it is going to be Aaron Sylvester. Now, do the extra herbs of the Kawasaki play any dividends? No, not at all. They come across the line. They were quarter of a second separated last time. They're now out to nearly 7/10 of a second. Del Dowd's fans, I can tell you that he has moved into the top 10, 8th in class. Let's see how close he is to that Clubman battle in front of him, because that's where he lies at the moment. As Howard gets the gap down to 8/10 of a second on May. So there's a battle we need to watch as well there, Bradley. But Dell comes across the line 59.078. So is his best, about 4/10 slower than that. So he's losing out just a little bit, but he has the advantage of being 10 seconds ahead of Jack Muir, who is the next rider to come across the line. Dickinson goes past on Mills on that lap, but Sylvester's looking like a man who's going to claim yet another win at this stage, isn't he, Bradley?
Yeah, he's looking good. I was just having a quick look at the results from his near championship winning season in 2023. Aaron Sylvester's done a 54 round here on that bike, so he's still got a little bit of time. Obviously, he's never the same track conditions, tyres and whatnot, but Aaron Sylvester certainly laying down the gauntlet now. And I'm just picking out that battle for the Clubmans. They're in towards Hamilton's now, and it is just those two riders, isn't it? James May and Will Howarth. They're a couple of seconds away from the man in front and about 3 or 4 seconds ahead of the man behind. So James May and Will Howarth, that I imagine will go to the end, because we are on the penultimate lap.
Yeah, we're running out of time very rapidly. Just a 7-lap race, of course, this one, as it was earlier. 10 laps yesterday was what they had on offer as the leader makes his way through the bomb hole. So the last lap flag will be getting prepared downstairs. What we noticed with the MRO600s, there's no back markers to play with, is there? Everybody is very competitive indeed. Even the slow guys really need to lift their skirts and kick up their high heels if they want to compete at this level as the leaders come onto the straight. The gap between first and second last time was 0.685. First and second in the Clubman was 0.838. Are we going to see those gaps close? Certainly not the main MRO class, because Aaron Sylvester, now he's found his way past, is really pushing on as hard as he can, and unfortunately Hurst does not have a response. Underwood is still quite lonely. AJ comes across the line, and PB for AJ. But I have to say a 57.4 for AJ is a relatively slow sort of lap time. Bear in mind, this is the guy who holds the lap record in the power bikes around this circuit. And Howard does indeed find a way past on May that particular lap. So Will claiming another 5 points in that particular championship if he can keep it there for another lap. So we're running out of time very rapidly indeed.
Yeah, looking for that battle of the Clubmans, and it was only 0.392 of a second difference between Will Howarth, who got the better of James May. They're through the left-hander at Palmer's now, and there is the number 96 of Will Howarth ahead of James May. Of course, there was only 11 points in between Will Howarth ahead of James May in the championship. It's now 21 after the 2 races so far this weekend, and if it remains this way, it will go up to 26.
Yeah, quite impressive. So down the back straight go the leaders. Aaron Sylvester, what a weekend it's been for him then, because so far this weekend he has had, 6 wins, and he's looking to make this his 7th win, won't he?
Yeah, that's right, yeah, that's not bad, is it? 7 races, 7 wins.
Absolutely, and across 2 different bikes as well, and they're quite different bikes to ride as well, the CB500s and of course the Yamaha R6 that he's on at the moment. So his family down there. It's getting very windy at this circuit. Was it windy when you were out there earlier, Isabel?
Yeah, you can definitely feel it, especially on the straights. And unless you're in slipstream, it's definitely taking time out of you.
Yeah, you're getting blown about a bit, yeah, because your little Kawasaki's going to get picked up in the corners as well, don't they?
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's windy.
Yeah, that's definitely adds another dimension to it, because you're looking at the windsock there, it's pretty much horizontal, and those flags are getting a good old workout. And so's the big tree over there. Go on, mate.
Yeah, so across the line, Aaron Sylvester, 1.7 seconds at the end of the race over Sam Hurst. Charlie Huntingford, that is another podium for him. He was second this morning and he's third in this afternoon race. Then it's AJ, Reese Forrest, Kai Dickinson, and then the battle of the Clubmans. It looks like Will Howarth managed his to almost put in a PB on that final lap. In fact, yeah, he was a tenth of a second away from it, and just pipped Michael Mills by 100th of a second for 7th overall. But that means that he now has a 26-point lead in the Clubman 600 Championship, because James May comes home second of the Clubman's night, but overall ahead of Dale Dowds on that new KTM RC 990. There goes Jack Muir, 2 8th places and a 9th place for Jack, ahead of the 187 machine of Andy Gill on the ZX6R Kawasaki.
Dale Dowds then debut for the KTM 990 here in the country, so I'd be interested to have a chat with him during the week actually, how he got on, and we do suspect he's got a bit of a gearing issue with that, so he might be losing out at the top end on that very nice machine. All beautifully colour coordinated, of course, as is always the way with Dell. So another 600 race all done and dusted. So you still got another race to look forward to this afternoon, haven't you, Isabel?
Yeah,
we're going to get you on the podium this time.
I'm quite a bit off it, but I mean, I wish.
How far away from the podium are you then?
I think I was.
In terms of time, how much time do you need to find?
A second and a bit.
Second and a bit?
Yeah, around that.
Second and a half?
Yeah, something
second
like
and
that.
a half over 3 miles is nothing. It's half a second a mile. You can do that, girl.
Yeah, we'll try.
You'll try it.
If I get off of the pack, I reckon I can stay with them. But it's the initial first few corners.
When I was a ACU club coach, used to be club coach, have been club coach for years, but I used to always tell my pupils, and I used to actually specialise in teaching young people like yourself, practice your starts every single time. When you leave the collecting area, you leave the dummy grid, whenever you can, get your start. Practice, make it a muscle memory thing, because as you know, at the start you can make up those 2 or 3, 4 places, and if you lose those at the start, it's a bad thing, but if you make them up, it becomes very hard to do it.